you'd have to have been asleep at the wheel to not know that Louisiana is firing on all pistons right now in terms of economic
Oh,
development.
yeah. Okay, the Port of New Orleans is one of the biggest economic drivers in the region, playing a major role in trade, tourism, and jobs across Louisiana and beyond. Now joining us for 5 minutes plus to break it all down is the president and CEO, Beth Branch. Hello, Beth.
Hey, Mark, great to see you.
I'm so glad you came in.
Thanks.
When people hear Port of New Orleans, they may think of ships and cargo, but it's so much bigger than that.
It
so
is
much
bigger.
bigger. How do you describe the port's role in New Orleans and really just this part of the world?
Well, I think, first of all, you're absolutely right. We're not just about cargo, we're about people movement as well, since we have one of the largest cruise operations in the country here. So we have cargo, both containerized and non-containerized, but we also have real estate, about 2,500 acres of industrial real estate. We have a railroad that we own and operate. And we also have, very importantly for the city of New Orleans and for the country, we have cruise operations here. So really, it's quite a diverse portfolio, and we're really lucky to be anchored right here at the mouth of the Mississippi in the great state of Louisiana.
Yeah, I mean, the reason New Orleans was founded was because it sits
Absolutely.
on this magnificent river.
Absolutely.
It's amazing.
Absolutely.
On a day-to-day level, how does the port impact jobs and trade and even everyday life for people across Louisiana?
It's so funny.
And really the Gulf South.
And when you're in New Orleans, especially, you have this really large port complex. You have the water, the wharf, a bit of laydown area, a railroad, a flood wall. And so that flood wall sometimes separates us. It does separate us physically from the city. Right. And I would venture to say that there are probably a lot of people in New Orleans who live here that don't know about all the activity that happens on the other side of that flood wall. But it's really, really critical. And it's not just the jobs that are created in New Orleans itself, but the operations that we run are responsible for about 14,000 jobs statewide, or New Orleans in the Tri-Parish area, and about 122,000 statewide. So when you think about the jobs that are created, it's not just the person who's operating the crane on the port. It's also the forklift driver at the distribution center in Shreveport, where the goods have come through New Orleans. So it's a multiplier effect. I always think about Savannah, and Savannah, years and years and years ago, was really just Savannah, until they gave Kmart land to build an import distribution center. And we all know now Savannah is synonymous, really, for the East Coast with trade and transportation. And that's really what we're trying to do here as well. We have a really unique opportunity to build that type of Gulf Coast presence that Savannah and others have on the East Coast, but it really is a jobs driver.
Yeah, and the fact that you acquired and now operate the Public Belt Railroad, how does that fit into the movement of goods?
Sure. Well, really critical. So our state only has 4 million, 5 million people in it, so it's not a large consumption area just immediately. So the real critical piece there is being able to get goods into the country and into the heartland of the country through our gateway, New Orleans, but also all the export goods that are coming, whether it's ag or energy or all the number of things that are getting exported to the United States, coming down either on the railroad, on the river, truck, etc. But the railroad is really, really unique because within this country, there is not a single port, not one, that has access and direct connections with every single national railroad. We call them Class 1 railroads, but
Right.
we're the only port. And so the NOPB, the New Orleans Public Belt, which is what we call our short line railroad, it's a switching railroad. What we do is we take cargo off and on ships, put it on the rail, and then we connect it or interchange it
With one of the
these
other
six that take it
railroad
out into the rest of the country. Yeah. So we can get anywhere in the country from New Orleans. You can't say that about the West Coast, and you can't say that about the East Coast either. So really, it's a really, really special thing that we have. And I guess I would also like to say, because it's so recently, the reason that we have that railroad is that we did a swap with the city. Not quite a swap, but let's just call it a swap. So the city took on a couple of wharfs. we took on the railroad, and those wharfs have now been converted into this new magnificent activation of the waterfront for this great city
Right,
that we
the
live in.
Goldring Woldenberg
I
Riverfront
mean,
Park,
it's
which
just
just
wonderful.
opened.
It just opened, and
Yeah.
French Quarter Fest was hosted there, and it just is, so what an amazing thing when you can have an urban railroad and you can have an activated waterfront, and it all sort of works together
Yeah.
well.
And
So
people,
really
you
excited.
know, I remember back at the World's Fair in '84, there was an opportunity for people to kind of experience the riverfront for the first time.
So amazing.
And now they're really able to see it at just a whole nother level with the wharf space that you just discussed. Ships are getting larger, so how are we adapting to that?
They are. The first day I was in office, my office is positioned right underneath the Crescent City Connection Bridge. And I looked up, and right at that moment, a container ship was coming under that bridge. And from my vantage point, it looked like it had about 3 feet of clearance. So the Mississippi gives us 50 feet of water, which these large container ships need to be able to come into port. But what we also need is we need with these vessels to have air draft, so the height of the vessel.
Yeah.
So that's impacted. And we know that as these vessels get larger and larger and larger, we have a constraint. And
Because that ship was heading up to Napoleon Avenue, right?
heading up to Napoleon Avenue, it needed to get underneath the bridge. Now, our cruise ships stay on the other side of that bridge, but our other vessels go underneath that bridge. So as these vessels get larger and larger and larger, we have to be able to accommodate for that. So we're building a new container terminal. It is the first greenfield development in decades in this country. We've received $300 million from the federal government. We have 2 private partners that are investing about $800 million. And the state has put in about $180 million on this as well. So in St. Bernard Parish, which is one of our 3 jurisdictions, will be building this new container terminal, which, again, very, very impactful for this region, for the state, for the city, et cetera.
And for jobs.
And for jobs. It's huge for jobs.
So Napoleon Avenue remains in operation. This will be able to handle the larger ships,
The
as
larger
you said,
ships.
that can't get underneath
Exactly,
the Mississippi
exactly.
River
So,
Bridge.
yes, and we're not moving away from New Orleans by going to St. Bernard Parish. That's obviously a really important point to make. It gives us really an unprecedented opportunity to repurpose what was containers into a contiguous non-containers, what we call break bulk or project cargo wharfs. And that's really important in Louisiana because you'd have to have been asleep at the wheel to not know that Louisiana is firing on all pistons right now in terms of economic development.
yeah.
And
With
so
Susan Bourgeois and the governor and just the posture that they've taken
Yep.
to ensure that people understand Louisiana's open
Absolutely.
business. So May is Maritime Month, and
Yes.
you are hosting a very large celebration of tall ships and gray hulls, our military vessels, coming up, correct?
well, we and the city and a lot of others, and you're
Yeah.
you're front and center on that, Mark. you're hurting all the cats to make sure this
Well,
happens. But
Knock
yeah,
on
you've
wood,
done it.
we're excited, as you are.
yeah,
But it's going to be magnificent.
Thank you. It really is. We are so excited about this. So, and it just so happens that Maritime Month and Sail 250 coincide with each other. So we've been celebrating Maritime Month at the Port of New Orleans for about 10 years. It's been around for a little while longer, but we've been celebrating it for about 10 years. And it's really our time to say thank you to our police officers, to our staff, to our waterfront operations folks. This day, May 4th, is actually International Firefighters Day. So we have Operate a Tug, as you know, and we have about 9 people on that team and so forth. So really, it's just a great time to say thank you to our teams, and not the least of whom are our waterfront operations team, because as you and I know very, very well, in order to bring these 6 magnificent tall ships to New Orleans as the beginning of Sail 250 and the celebration of our country's birthday.
I know we're fortunate to be one of 5 ports that are part of that celebration.
And not only part of the 5 ports, we are the first. We are the
Yes,
inaugural.
we're the inaugural one.
And
It
we're the only
happens
one
here
on
first.
we're the only one on the Gulf, which I think is really really exciting.
So tall ships will be docked along Bienville Street.
Denville, that's right. on the
And
wharfs.
the gray hulls will be from Poland Avenue up to Thalia, Arado.
I think around there, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it'll be available for public tours May
Really,
27th
really exciting.
through May 31st.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think there's some fireworks. There's all sorts of.
Oh,
There's
it's
all
gonna
sorts of
be-
just
It's going to be magnificent.
And to have that kind of access to that type of flotilla of tall ships is just it's superb.
Special thanks to the work that your crew has done to pull together the upgrades or restoration of the dock space so that we
Appreciate
could
it.
host these ships. The governor, state of Louisiana, and I know New Orleans and Company and the port were part of
Partnered
that,
to make
along
sure
with
that-
Audubon Nature Institute. So,
Yep.
thank you for proving once again that we're a port that can welcome these international vessels.
It's the great thing about New Orleans, Mark. I mean, when things need to happen, everyone comes together in a way that I've never seen anywhere else that I've worked. It's been very, very interesting that everyone just said, "This is
Let's
going
do
to
it.
get
We
done.
gotta do it,
We got to
right?
do it. This is going to get done."
Let's talk about the cruise industry,
Sure.
the importance that has for our economy. Everyone's so excited when they see one of the large cruise ships. And
Yep.
Tell us about that experience that you've
Yeah,
had.
so I have to personally say that after COVID, I didn't know that there was ever going to be a cruise ship again. And we are now 5 years, 6 years post-COVID. And last year we had our highest passenger movement count ever.
Congratulations.
So over 1.3 million passengers coming in and out of New Orleans, which is just super, super excited. We're on track to break that record again this year. And really, quite frankly, our constraint is berth space. And so we're starting to look at, again, where and how to build a third cruise terminal. I'm very, very excited about starting to peel back that a little bit and see what we can do. We're obviously have some partners in some of our cruise ship lines that would be interested in taking a look at a home port type of situation. So we'll see. We're gonna
That's very good.
keep pursuing that. But
I have taken one of those cruises out of New Orleans, and
And?
it is magnificent for about 8 hours to get to the Gulf, and then how dramatically the water changes. And it's just a beautiful way to see the
it really
boot
is.
of Louisiana,
It
for
is.
sure.
Well, and I think we're the only cruise area of cruise operation in the United States that has not just the ocean-going cruises, but also the river cruises. So we've got both of those
That's
as
right.
something that we offer as New Orleans. And frankly, people want to come to New Orleans. I'm not going to name all the other cruise locations in the Gulf, but people want to be in New Orleans. I mean, it's
like a double vacation.
it's like a double vacation. They come in, they stay, they go to French Quarter, they do all the things they do here that we love to do. Maybe they went to Jazz Fest this weekend or French Quarter Fest
Yeah.
like weekend before. And then off they go, and then they come back. And I mean, it's really
Rinse
a
and
great-
repeat. They'll stay
rinse
maybe
and repeat.
another
Yeah, another.
night
But,
or
as
two.
but in terms of economic impact, it's hundreds of millions of dollars in hotels and food and, sort of the impact.
And they're
of the city.
supplying the ships while they're here.
That's absolutely right.
I mean, there's
Yeah,
a
absolutely.
lot of goods being purchased to
Absolutely.
go on board those vessels.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Is there something about the port that most people would be surprised to learn?
Oh gosh, you'd probably be surprised to learn that we have our own police force. We've got about 44 officers that really work together throughout with other agencies in the city, but really focused on our maritime assets and making sure that that is, that we're secure and so forth. We do have secure facilities here. So I think people are a little surprised about that. They're surprised that we have a fireboat. They just think cranes and, machinery and all the tough stuff. But I think they're a little surprised at what it takes to actually make the whole thing go every day.
Yeah, that's it's just a magnificent, I think, misunderstood aspect of our riverfront is that there's so much activity happening on the other side of that flood wall.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
If you're fortunate enough to get on the other side of the flood wall
Yeah.
and ride that road, I know that's not something we tell people to do on a
No,
regular basis.
they actually can't
'cause
get in
there's
there.
a lot of work going on back there.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
can't thank you enough for being the leader that you are and
it's a pleasure.
pulling everything together, particularly as we build out lower area of the St. Bernard Parish
That's
port.
right.
It's
Really
going to be
important.
magnificent.
Generational.
Very good. So, got to ask you, and people ask me all the time, you think you're going to get Disney Cruise Lines back here?
Oh my goodness. Well, what I would say is that we are in conversations with operators all the time. So let's see. We certainly are.
I'm sure you get that question.
Yes. So
Well, we're very happy.
yeah,
I mean, Carnival has done such a wonderful job here.
They have done.
And
Yeah, they
you
have
can
done.
mention the other ones as well
Yeah.
that are
Well,
part.
Royal Caribbean actually, Carnival, Norwegian, American.
Yeah.
I mean, they've all just done. They've been really, really great partners of ours. But we're actually in very almost weekly conversations right now with Royal Caribbean because, as you may know, in November they're bringing the largest vessel they've ever brought here. And they are now going from a seasonal, 6 month a year, to a year-round operation. So we're super, super excited about that
Magnificent.
partnership. Yep.
That's magnificent.
Absolutely.
Well, again, thank you so very much for this insight and helping us understand about the work that goes down at the port and for the work that you're doing to keep New Orleans connected to the rest of the globe as you do.
Thanks, Mark.
Appreciate it very much.
Wow.
Hey, y'all, go ahead and hit that subscribe button on our YouTube channel and turn on your notifications. Please follow us. We've got new shows each and every week. And a very, very special thanks to all of our sponsors who are making this possible. Have a great day, and we'll see you next week.